Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a country located in South Asia between India and Myanmar on the coast of the Bay of Bengal. With an area of approximately 147,000 square kilometers, this country is one of the most populous countries in the world in terms of population density. It has a population of approximately 170 million. Its capital is Dhaka, and the city is the economic and political center of the country. Bangladesh was once part of British India. After the partition of India and Pakistan in 1947, it was annexed to the newly formed Pakistan as East Pakistan. However, this artificial union was conflicted from the beginning due to differences in language and culture. In 1971, Bangladesh fought a war of independence against Pakistan. Hundreds of thousands of people lost their lives and millions were displaced during the war. The country eventually gained independence, but it was born with deep trauma. One of the biggest problems facing Bangladesh after independence was poverty. Infrastructure was lacking, resources were limited, and frequent floods, cyclones, and inundations made agriculture and living conditions difficult. Geographically, Bangladesh is one of the lowest and flattest countries in the world, making it extremely vulnerable to floods and natural disasters. Located on the Bengal Delta, the country is exposed to climate disasters that affect millions of people every year. Although the majority of the population lives in rural areas, urbanization is rapidly increasing. Dhaka, in particular, has become one of the most populous and densely populated cities in the world. However, this rapid growth also brings with it an infrastructure and housing crisis. Bangladesh's economy is largely based on the textile industry. The country is the world's largest garment exporter after China. Hundreds of thousands of women work in the sector for low wages but vital work. Women working in the textile sector are both supporting their families and changing their social roles. However, long working hours, job security, and low wages are still major problems. The Rana Plaza disaster in particular was a breaking point that brought these problems to the world. Significant progress has been made in the field of education. The enrollment rate, especially for girls, has increased significantly in the last 20 years. However, problems such as early marriage and disconnection from education still persist in rural areas. Agriculture is the main source of income for millions of people in Bangladesh. However, small-scale farming is fragile due to low yields and climatic conditions. For villagers, life often means a struggle with nature. Unemployment and low income levels are forcing the young population to migrate. There is a large migration of workers to the Middle East, Malaysia, and Europe. The remittances sent by migrant workers are vital to the Bangladesh economy. The country has started to attract attention with its economic growth rates in recent years. Especially women's employment, microfinance systems, and foreign investments support growth. However, this growth is not reflected equally in all segments of society. Despite the challenges, the people of Bangladesh are resilient and productive. Civil society organizations, local initiatives, and communities are actively involved in finding solutions to problems. This is one of the strengths of the country's dynamic structure. Religion plays a major role in the country. The majority of the population is Muslim, and religious practice is central to daily life. However, religious affiliation can have restrictive effects on women's rights and individual freedoms in some areas. And amidst all these contradictions, Bangladesh is a country that is both struggling and trying to grow. It is the story of a society stuck between poverty and modernization, tradition and change, but not giving up. Before moving on to the next section, if you watched this video up to this point, thank you guys. If you want to support us a little, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment. Bangladesh's political history has been marked by major volatility since independence. The country has been ruled by military coups, unstable governments, and authoritarian leaders for many years. Despite the transition to democracy, polarization and political tensions continue. The two major political parties, The Awami League and the Bangladesh Nationalist Party almost completely control the country's politics. This polarization has also created divisions among the media, the judiciary, and the public. Political debate is often marred by violence and repression. Elections are held regularly, but there is serious criticism of transparency and fairness. Dissenting voices can be suppressed through media censorship and the judiciary. Running for political opposition is risky territory for many Bangladeshis. Women have long been seen as a silent presence in Bangladeshi society, but this is changing. Women are becoming more visible as education and participation in the workforce increase. However, patriarchal culture and religious pressures still pose serious obstacles. Early marriage and domestic violence are common, especially in rural areas. Women have limited rights to decide on their own lives. Women's movements fighting this situation have been growing stronger in recent years. The younger generation, on the other hand, has a more liberal and questioning stance on the future. Especially urban youth are making their voices heard through social media and demanding change in society. This youth can be one of the most critical actors in the transformation of Bangladesh. However, opportunities for education and employment are limited. Qualified young people want to study or work abroad. The brain drain is slowly increasing, which may negatively affect the long-term development of the country. In Bangladesh, income inequality is very evident. While luxury residences rise in cities, slums are located just a few streets away. Even though there is economic growth, this wealth is reflected in a very small segment of society. Healthcare is facing serious problems, especially in rural areas. There are insufficient hospitals and doctors, and access to medicine is limited. Many people seek treatment through traditional methods, which increases their health risks. Urbanization is increasing rapidly, but infrastructure is not keeping up. Traffic, air pollution, and housing shortages in big cities like Dhaka make daily life difficult. As cities grow, social services cannot keep pace. The media operates under tight state control. Critical journalism is difficult and risky. Social media has become an alternative medium of expression for many people, but censorship practices are also in effect there. Faith is a determining factor in many areas of society. Friday sermons, religious schools, and community structures play an active role in social life. However, this can sometimes be an obstacle to scientific education and individual freedom. Civil society organizations are active in areas such as women's rights, environment, education, and human rights. Working with local communities, these structures are trying to produce social change independent of the state. Although people in Bangladesh face many challenges in their daily lives, the culture of solidarity is strong. Helping each other out is common among families, neighbors, and even strangers. This culture is like the glue that keeps society from falling apart. And within this complex structure, Bangladesh is going through a silent but determined transformation process. There is a society that wants change despite the difficulties. Now, the question is what kind of future this desire will turn into. Despite its harsh conditions, Bangladesh has a vibrant and productive culture. Poetry, music, theatre and folk tales have a strong tradition in this land. Rabindranath Tagore's melodies still echo in the streets. The country's literature and cinema focus on issues such as social injustice, poverty, and women's resistance. New generation directors are beginning to reach global audiences with local stories on digital platforms. Culture is becoming the language of change. Bangladeshi cuisine is also an important part of the cultural identity. Spicy rice dishes, fish, vegetables, and street food are at the center of daily life. The table here means not only food, but also sharing and conversation. In rural areas, life flows slowly but meaningfully. Fieldwork, neighborliness, traditional weddings, and religious festivals are still very much alive. Rather than resisting modernization, villages interpret it in their own language. But nature is both the wealth and fragility of this country. The abundance that comes with monsoon rains sometimes turns into destruction. Floods that occur every year leave thousands of people homeless and destroy agricultural lands. Climate change is not an abstract discussion for Bangladesh, but a concrete disaster. Sea level rise is causing land loss and internal migration, especially in coastal areas. Bangladesh is one of the countries most affected by the climate crisis in the world. Despite this, environmentally sensitive projects have begun to increase. Local communities are trying to find solutions with solar energy, rural water purification systems, and sustainable agricultural practices. Awareness is spreading slowly but steadily. In cities, young people are trying to build new lifestyles. They are making their voices heard through cafes, bookstores, art galleries, and social media platforms. This generation is dreaming of a new future without breaking ties with the past. Women entrepreneurs are pioneering both economic and social transformation with small cooperatives and handicraft markets. Thousands of women have started their own businesses thanks to the microcredit system. These success stories symbolize not only individual but also social change. Migration has become a necessity for many families. While men go to work in the Gulf countries, women take on the responsibility of raising children, the house, and the fields. This silent sacrifice is the invisible foundation of the economy. Despite the difficulties, Bangladeshi children do not give up on dreaming. Children in colorful clothes walking to school, joyful crowds playing in muddy streets. These images are the best depictions of the country's hope. The country's belief structure is one of the biggest factors shaping daily life. Mosques, madrasas, and religious ceremonies determine the social fabric of the people. However, the new generation is trying to establish a new balance between religious belief and individual freedom. Although Bangladesh is known only for its poverty from the outside, it has great potential at home. Its young population, cultural richness, and social solidarity offer a powerful resource for rebuilding the future. Despite everything, this country is breathing, quietly but persistently. Sometimes with the call to prayer, sometimes with the laughter of a child, sometimes with the sound of a woman's sewing machine. That's it, friends. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned to discover more together.